Everyone, let's begin with a question most people never dare to ask out loud. What if you were chosen for something greater and all the signs have already begun? Now I know what you're thinking. It chosen? It sounds grandiose, maybe even impossible. But I'm not talking about being picked out of a crowd by some external force. I'm talking about something far deeper, a quantum invitation from the field of infinite potential. Let me explain. There is a field, an invisible force that governs all things. It's not out there in the stars or locked in ancient temples. It is within you. It is you. It's the intelligence that beats your heart, digests your food, and moves the galaxy. And when we say God, we're not pointing to a man in the sky. We're talking about this divine conscious energy that surrounds us and pulses through us. So when I say let God choose you, I'm saying allow yourself to be aligned with this energy that's already calling you. But most people ignore the signs. You've probably experienced them. A dream that felt more real than reality. A moment where time seemed to stand still and your body buzzed with energy. A coincidence so specific it couldn't possibly be chance. Or that deep, unshakable feeling that your current life isn't your true path. These aren't accidents. These are activations, markers. Invitations. You think you're chasing success, love, peace. But what you're really chasing is union with the infinite intelligence that wants to move through you. The signs are shocking not because they're rare, but because they're deeply personal, tailored, precise. It's as if the universe whispers, yes, you. Are you listening? But here's the key. You can't be chosen while you're living in the past. Most people wake up and immediately plug into the same identity. Same thoughts, same emotions, same reality. They re-enter the familiar chemical state of who they've always been, and then they wonder why nothing changes. But when you disconnect from that version of yourself, when you start to sit in stillness, breathe into the unknown, and feel beyond the limits of your body, that's when the divine takes notice. You become no one, going nowhere, doing nothing. In that vacuum, in that 0 point, God chooses you. The field finds you because you're no longer trying to manifest from lack. You're receiving from a place of wholeness. And that's when it gets wild. You'll notice synchronicities, people showing up at just the right time. Answers arriving before the question is asked. Healing occurring without explanation. And an inner magnetism that pulls you into new realities. This isn't magic. It's biology. It's quantum law. It's the way life works when you surrender to being chosen. So the question isn't, will God choose me? The real question is, will I allow myself to be chosen? Because the signs are already there. Your body is the compass. Your emotions are the code. And your willingness to let go of who you've been, that's the key that unlocks the door. So I leave you with this. Don't wait for the world to validate your worth. Don't wait for pain to force you to awaken. You are not here to survive. You are here to transcend. Let yourself be chosen. And when you do, don't be surprised if the signs absolutely shock you. You are already connected to the divine field of infinite potential. This isn't philosophy, it's physics. At the most fundamental level, we are all energy vibrating at different frequencies, nested within a universal field that is conscious, intelligent, and aware of itself. This field exists beyond the senses, beyond time, beyond space. It doesn't recognize separation or limitation. It simply responds to coherence, to alignment, to intention. Your very being is woven from this energy, and it's communicating with you every moment of the day. Most people believe they have to reach for something higher, climb toward it, or earn their connection to something divine. It enters gently, patiently, when you've cleared space for it to arrive. Stillness isn't just physical. It's emotional and energetic. It's a state where your internal world becomes more real than your external one, where you're no longer obsessing over what's next or who's watching. You drop beneath the surface of time-bound thinking and begin to touch something eternal. That is where selection happens, not because you're trying to be chosen, but because you've become available. There's intelligence in the pause, power in the quiet. Stillness allows your consciousness to expand beyond identity, beyond limitation. It's where the veil thins between the seen and the unseen. And in that openness, you don't just find peace. You become the kind of vessel the divine can work through. Transformation begins when you surrender control. Control is the illusion that you can manage outcomes through force, logic, or repetition. It comes from fear, the fear of uncertainty, the fear of failure, the fear of being vulnerable. Most people live in a constant state of resistance, trying to bend life to match their expectations. But the more you try to control the process, the more disconnected you become from the deeper intelligence that already knows your path. Surrender isn't weakness. It's the courage to trust a greater rhythm than your own. Surrender begins when you stop needing to know how everything will unfold, when you stop trying to figure out the next step and start listening to the present moment. The ego wants guarantees, maps, and timelines. The divine offers none of those. It offers only presence, alignment, and timing that doesn't always make sense to the rational mind. But when you release your grip on control, something incredible happens. You begin to feel carried, guided, chosen. In the absence of control, there is flow. You begin to realize that effort is not the same as alignment. You can work hard and still be resisting the very thing that's trying to reach you. When you let go, you make space for synchronicities, insights, and opportunities that were blocked by your insistence on controlling the outcome. The universe doesn't need your strategy. It needs your surrender. It needs your energy to be open, not guarded, receptive, not forceful. This is not about doing nothing. It's about doing from a place of trust rather than fear. It's about releasing the pressure to perform and instead becoming available for what is already moving toward you. When you surrender control, you don't lose power. You return to it. You align with the creative force that was never meant to be managed, only allowed. Emotions are the bridge between thought and reality. Every emotion you feel is a signal, a frequency, a form of energy that carries information. While thoughts may plant the seed of creation, it's emotion that energizes it, gives it substance, and begins to form it in the field. You can think abundance all day, but if you feel unworthy, the field responds not to your thoughts, but to your emotional signature. That's because emotion is what gives thoughts their magnetic power. It anchors the mental into the physical. Most people are emotionally conditioned by the past. They wake up and immediately remember who they are based on how they feel. Those feelings, often tied to old memories, create a cycle where the past becomes the predictable future. But once you understand that emotions are not just byproducts but creative tools, everything changes. You stop being a victim of how you feel and start becoming intentional with what you feel. When you feel elevated emotions like gratitude, love, awe, and freedom, you're tuning into the frequency of creation itself. These elevated states aren't just feel-good moments, they're portals. They open your heart, quiet the analytical mind, and allow you to connect with the divine intelligence that shapes reality. Your body becomes the instrument, and emotion becomes the music that broadcasts your desire into the field. The field doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your energy. Emotion gives your intention life, texture, and vibration. When you consciously generate emotions aligned with your desired future, you collapse the distance between now and then. You stop rehearsing the past and begin rehearsing the future. You become magnetic to experiences that match the energy you're generating within. Emotion is not just a reaction. It is your creative currency in the divine process. Letting go of the past creates space for divine intelligence. The past isn't just stored in memory. It lives in your body, your habits, your emotional responses, and even your perception of what's possible. Most people don't realize they are recreating the same experiences day after day, simply because they haven't released the energetic imprint of what's already happened. They wake up in the morning and begin to think the same thoughts, feel the same emotions, and follow the same routines, unknowingly anchoring themselves to a past version of reality. In that state, nothing new can emerge because the signal being broadcast into the field is a mirror of yesterday. Letting go is not forgetting. It's releasing the charge, the attachment, the meaning you've assigned to what happened. It's choosing to no longer define yourself by your trauma, your failures, your stories. When you let go, you free your energy. That energy, once trapped in guilt, blame, or regret, becomes available for creation, for healing, for transformation. You reclaim the power you unknowingly gave to the events and identities of your past. The divine field of intelligence is always present, but it requires openness. It doesn't force itself into a closed system. It moves through space, through the unknown, through the vacuum that is created when you stop clinging to what no longer serves you. When you finally say, "I don't need to carry this anymore," you initiate a process of renewal. You create an energetic invitation for the new to enter, As long as you're holding on to who you were, you block who you're becoming. The future cannot flow into a container already full of yesterday's emotions. When you let go, you signal trust. You tell the universe you're ready to receive, not through force, but through surrender and readiness. You don't manifest, you align with what's already yours. Manifestation implies that something is outside of you, that you have to bring it into your life from some distant place. But this perspective creates a gap between you and what you desire. The truth is, everything you need, every opportunity, every resource, every experience is already available within the quantum field, already waiting for you. You don't have to manifest it. You just need to align with it. Alignment occurs when your thoughts, emotions, and energy match the frequency of what you're seeking. It's not about forcing something into existence or using willpower to make it happen. It's about tuning into the same vibration as the thing you desire. This means shifting from a mindset of lack or effort into a state of trust and resonance. It means moving from a place of needing to achieve to a place of knowing it's already yours, on its way to you. When you align, you stop chasing and start attracting. You become a magnet for your desires. Because you are no longer divided, your internal world and external world begin to harmonize. The gap closes between what you want and what you experience. It's not that you're pushing for something outside of you to appear. You're simply stepping into the version of you that is already a match for it. The key is not effort, but surrendering to the process of becoming. You allow yourself to embody the state of being that already reflects your desired reality. The field doesn't wait for you to get it perfect. It responds to your energetic coherence. The more you align with that which you seek, the more naturally it flows into your life. You aren't manifesting. You are remembering and receiving what's already in motion for you. Not being chosen feels shocking because it awakens your true self. When you are chosen, it's not a matter of external validation or external events. It's the profound realization that you are part of something much greater than yourself. This is not about being selected based on merit or deservingness in the traditional sense. It's about alignment with a higher purpose, a higher intelligence that has always been a part of you, waiting for you to awaken to it. The shock comes because, for most of your life, you've lived in a state of disconnection, believing that you are just a person trying to survive in a world that often feels indifferent. You've identified with your past experiences, your limitations, your fears, and your struggles. But when you are chosen, something inside of you clicks and you realize that all of those things were never truly who you are. You've been living out of alignment with your true nature. And when that alignment finally takes place, the shift feels almost too powerful to comprehend. The shock isn't just mental, it's physical. It's a full body recognition that you are more than your body, more than your identity, more than your circumstances. You feel an overwhelming connection to the universal energy that has always been present, but was unseen. You recognize that you are not separate, but an active part of the creative force that shapes everything. This recognition is often overwhelming because it is so far beyond the limited sense of self you once carried. Being chosen awakens you to your own potential, your own infinite capacity for creation and transformation. The shock is not a negative one. It is the shock of seeing who you truly are for the first time, of realizing that you've always been a part of something extraordinary.